placed Miller on IR last week. There was hope that he would be able to return at some point this season, but those hopes were dashed today. Miller was injured in Buffalo's Thanksgiving Day win over the Lions. To talk about Von Miller and more with the Buffalo Bills, I'm Jamie Eisenberg. That's Heath Cummings. That's Pete Prisco. So Pete, in terms of the Bills and their Super Bowl hopes right now in regards to this defense, which has played very well throughout the course of the season, they have a lot of guys on that defensive line. The loss of Von Miller means what to them?
It's a big hit to your defense. When you talk about Von Miller, you're talking about fourth quarter, game on the line, Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game, sack, fumble, game over. That's what Von Miller gives you. When you don't have that, that's a big loss. Now, having said all that, they've drafted that position over the last couple of years, and those guys are all starting to play good football. Greg Rousseau and Boogie Basham and that group, they can
AJ
Epinesa, they can get after the quarterback. So, yes, it's a hit, but I think this is one of those ones where they're that good and that talented that they'll be able to overcome it.
But when you take a step back from it, though, and just look at how they are compared to the Chiefs, compared to the other teams in the AFC, that maybe the Dolphins still, Bengals, do they have enough on both sides of the ball to still be the Super Bowl contender?
I still think they're the Super Bowl favorite in my mind, even without Von Miller. And again, I go back to what I said about the other guys getting better. And he helped. He played a large part in that, by the way. They all gravitated to him. He taught them how to rush the passer better, and I think that's helped the Bills. You look at all those other teams. The Dolphins have Chubb. He can rush the passer. The Chiefs, do they have, other than Chris Jones, because he's an inside player, do they have an outside guy that really scares you? I mean, Frank Clark can show up in games and everything. So there's a question about that with a lot of these teams. So I don't think this kills the Buffalo Bills at all. It hurts them, but it doesn't kill them.
Heath, how much of this now offensively do we look at and say, okay, Josh Allen's been playing through this elbow injury. They're trying to find a run game that they may have established the last couple of weeks with Devin Singletary and James Cook. And just, now an MVP guy and Josh Allen has to put even more on his shoulders.
Yeah, and I think if you have Josh Allen, he's not been quite the same guy the last month. Hopefully you get a few more pass attempts because the Bills give up a few more points. They haven't been the same defense in the second half because of all these injuries they have. This is far from the first injury they've had. They did not allow a quarterback to score more than 15.1 fantasy points the first 5 weeks of the season. Since then, there have been a lot of quarterbacks over 20. So I do think this is an opportunity. Maybe the Bills give up more points. Maybe Josh Allen gets going a little bit more as a passer.
But they're getting guys back too. Tre'Davious White is now rounding in the shape. You get secondary guys back. They're going to come back. So yes, they haven't been the same defense as they were early in the year, but I think they still can have the ability to get to that. Leslie Frazier's a heck of a defensive coordinator, and he doesn't get the due he deserves. I think they're still going to be a really good defense.
Well, I mean, it is the position of most depth for them, but they've dealt with injuries to Micah Hyde, who's out for the season. Matt Milano's been in and out of the lineup.
Poyer's been in and out of the lineup.
Poyer's been out of the lineup.
Corners.
Tremaine Edmonds been in and out of the lineup, like you said, Tre'Davious White. So they've been working through a lot of different things, but we'll see how things go for them. Again, the news, though, Von Miller out for the season with a torn ACL.